Enis Shehu, welcome to the program. Thank you so much for being on. Big fan of yours, followed you for a long time. You're a force to be reckoned with in Boston. Whiteacre Properties. Tell us a little more about yourself and how you got started. I mean, how do you get started in your in your industry?
In real estate investing. Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. I listen to the shows, and when you get guys like Gary Vee on the podcast, I feel like I have to perform.
No, you're good. You're good.
But I mean, it's not easy breaking into real estate investing, right? So we run a small company here in Greater Boston. Started back in 2014 when it was much easier to get into real estate because prices were lower, and you could find deals. You could find some deals on the MLS, but was also much easier to find deals off market. So I definitely feel for people trying to start now because it's extremely competitive, right? Numbers don't make sense. Prices are so high. Properties
Rates are high.
rates are very high. So you got this perfect storm. But so we got started basically after the sale of another business. We owned a restaurant back then, sold that business, got some money from the sale, and wanted to get started on something else. Real estate investing has been back on the back of my mind for a while as just something that I saw other people invest and grow and become wealthy through it. And I said, you know what, I want to learn this business. So 2014 is really when we said, we got nothing else to do right now. We need something to do. So we jumped into it. It was
And
me and my brother that started the company.
congrats. Was the first deal a fix and flip, or did you hold
No,
it?
no, the first one actually, my brother got that building, but it was a 6-unit rental building in Worcester. He found it on the MLS, purchased it for a 6 family. He purchased it in 2000, I think maybe it was late 2013 for 350,000.
Wow,
Yeah, and it was cash flowing about $3,000 a month after you paid everybody.
that's insane.
Right?
That yeah, you can't. You're probably looking at that same property is probably worth what, 1.5 million?
Over a million, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Yeah, so that was the first one. He saw the power of that cash flow coming in. He was like, hey, how can we do more of this? Uh, the struggle that you run in that process is that the next building that you got to purchase, right? If you want to buy another one, is that you got to find the 20% down payment. Um, let's say you can qualify for a mortgage, but what about the 20% down? So we got stuck there. We didn't have that much money to go buy buildings left and right. And we said, you know what? It looks like the way to go is to then find off-market properties. Maybe we try wholesaling or we try fix and flips, right? We didn't know what we were doing, but one thing that we did right is that we just joined a mastermind early on, and these guys were specializing in finding off-market deals. You know, that was their big theme, was find off-market deals, find off-market sellers looking to get rid of
Which
their
which
property.
mastermind was that?
It's Tucker Merrihew. Tucker was in Portland. Now he's moved to Florida, but it's called the Deal Finders Academy. Um,
That's cool. He's
yeah,
still doing it?
I'm still in that mastermind. There's a few local guys there, uh, but everybody else is across country. And again, the topic is always, how can we get our direct mail better? How can we generate a good list to mail? How can we create this direct to seller marketing, right? That's the main focus.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you held to that first property. You said you're having issue raising money, right? Or how do you come up with
Right.
20%?
How do you exactly right? Where do you find
So
capital to buy
did you do wholesaling where you're just, like finding properties and like handing the contract to someone else for a fee, or did you do fix and flip, and
Yeah.
how did you start raising that capital?
So what I learned next was fix and flips. It took me a couple of years until we did the first wholesale. Um, but again, from the mastermind, we learned how to run numbers on an off-market deal to buy it. And the first off-market deal we got was 300 Concord Street in Wayland. The split level house. The guy lived in Florida, older gentleman. He wanted to sell it. I think we paid 330 for that house. Paid too much for it. You know, being our first deal, we just weren't aggressive enough
In Wayland?
in Wayland. Yep. And it needed everything. It was a full gut rehab. It took us, I think, 8 months to finish it. I sold that one. I was the agent listing it. I sold it for 660,000. And even with enough that big spread between purchase and sale, we still lost money. I think I
Wow.
probably
Because it
evened
was a
out
gut. It was a gut, the
full
renovation.
gut rehab, right? And when you do your first one, I mean, keep in mind you don't know what you're doing, right? So the GC is running the show. They're charging you left and right for all type of change orders and stuff. So scope of work kind of blew out of control. You know, budget went out the window. It was a tough one.
What would you do differently? What would you do differently on that first deal?
I that's a good question.
Would you partner up with someone?
Probably partner up with someone that understands construction. I would have also negotiated harder up front. And I learned this along the way that because we still make mistakes, even to this day with construction and stuff. It's just you can't prevent and you can't see everything from day one as far as what's going to happen with the construction. However, if you purchase it at a discount, you are covering yourself. It's true when they say you make your money when you buy in real estate, right?
Of course.
So I have learned that you gotta buy at a discount. The more discount, the better, because there are things that are gonna happen along the way that you can't control.
100%.
Right now, for example, is where is the market going, right? The prices. So if you buy at a higher price, well, you don't know at what price you're gonna sell it, right? Because we're just in this uncertain market right now. Our price is going to go down to 3-5%, right, or 10%. So again, if you buy at a discount, if you buy low enough, then you are covered, and you're going to make a profit. So
I love the fact that you're kind of like involved in every aspect. I mean, you got the listing side of the house, you're holding properties, you're doing these redevelopments, wholesaling, which is awesome. If you want to talk to us actually about wholesaling a little bit, are you still doing it? And and it how like just break down a deal, like for someone new. For me, actually, I've never done a wholesale deal.
Yeah. Wholesaling is great. We're doing actually more of it this year than ever before. It's going to be a little challenging this year because there are going to be less buyers than in the past. In the past, if you had a decent deal, you had so many buyers, you would definitely find a buyer for that property. But basically, the concept is that we find a property to buy, we go on the seller appointments, talk to the homeowner, get the deal under contract, just like we would purchase it. It goes without saying that you got to find a great deal, because now you take that contract that you signed with the homeowner, and instead of you closing, finding the money to buy the property, you then find another buyer, right? A fix and flipper, a developer, whoever that likes that deal, and you make a spread in between, right? So, I mean, we do a lot of it, and some people are surprised when I tell them some of these are $100,000 wholesale fees. They're not small. People think that they're 5-10 grand, and that can be true in other states.
Right.
Here it's much harder to find deals, but if you find a good enough deal and you negotiate it hard enough, this can be 6-figure, paydays. But I think we have one right now. It's not closed yet, so I'm not going to mention the town, but purchase price $850, and the buyer is paying $965 for it. It's a high-end town, high-end property.
Are you selling directly to a buyer or to a developer?
To a developer. Yeah. It needs full gut, and so so those are on the
How much money are you risking up front?
The PNS deposit is typically somewhere between, I mean, it's all negotiable, but sometimes it's between 1% and 5%, right?
Yep.
Of the total purchase. So you risk that because that is not refundable. So
correct.
We are getting these deals on the contract. We got to make sure that they are, first of all, we understand the numbers, right? Because that's where you add value, right?
What do you do? Do you do a 60-day close or 90-day on these PNSs?
The more time, the better. But a lot of the sellers probably just want 30 45, 60 days the most, right? They don't want to wait 90 days. Some of them want to close sooner rather than later. That's not always the case, but this one that I just mentioned, I think was a 60-day closing because they were going through some paperwork on their end.
Mm-hmm. And
But
what if you don't find a developer? What's your
that
exit
gets
plan?
managed with the business I run because we can do fix and flips, right? We're not afraid. I know some people that just do wholesaling, and if that's all you do and you cannot find a buyer, well, you risk your deposit, right? Because that's pretty much the money that you got on the line. That's going to be the damages if you break that contract. They're going to keep that. So you got to make sure you're really good at running numbers, understanding value of the property. The best wholesalers I know, they understand their market inside and out. And then people that are just starting out and they struggle with that part.
That's awesome. That's all. And I'm sure the question everybody wants to know is, how do you get these deals?
Yeah, that's a lot of work. So it's for us, when we started out, was just direct mail, and that's all we did. Pulled a list, and the list was mainly people that had equity in the house, 50 plus, 50% or more equity. We were looking for people that were 50 years of age or older. And then the third criteria was the time they owned the property, 10 plus years. And the logic is that, people that have stayed in a property for 10 plus years, most likely house needs some updating. You need equity, otherwise they can sell to you at a discount, right? And then the third thing being elderly, they probably don't want to, hustle and just get the house on the market and all that stuff. They just want an easy transaction.
And they may want to downsize too.
And they want to downsize, exactly right. So that's our avatar.
That's cool.
Someone like me, I'm 39, probably, I'm probably going to list my house, right? So I'm probably not the best type of seller, right? So I don't mail to guys or, ladies that are under 50. That's just, you got to have some criteria when you create this list, because otherwise you're going to have a lot of people on your mailing list. And then you can add specialty lists. We have water shut off, we have probates, we have fire lists, we have code violations.
That's cool.
Other specialty ones that you can add to it, right? But those are smaller lists. And so that's step one. Create a list of the people that we think are going to have a motivation to sell. You can't just reach out to everybody because you're going to spend a lot of money that way. But you create a list. Let's say it's 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people. Then you got to decide what you're going to do next. The way I think about this is, if you have time, you put your time to reach out to them, meaning, call, write letters on your own, do the activities, go door knock, right? But you got to do those activities to get in front of people on that list. If you have money, then you can hire people to do it, right? There are companies out there that do direct mail and they do a really good job at that. So you can outsource that. You can hire cold callers to do the work for you. So it all depends on where you're at in life, how much time you got or how much money you got. When we started out, it was just time. We did the activities. We started writing letters on our own. We cold call. We reached out to agents, wholesalers, all of that. Now we're spending more money than time, right? We're spending,
of course,
we got some people helping here at the office. We outsource activities and stuff like that. So it all depends where you're at. But you got to do all that work to really have these leads come to you, right? And the other thing, so I started this real estate investing class here at the office. It's a free class. Last year we had 2 of those, and I got some good feedback from everyone. But one thing I pushed a lot is something that I did wrong myself at the beginning, which was to tell people what you do. To me, when I started out, it looked more like a hobby. Because I didn't know what I was getting involved in. I was trying to learn. But I didn't have the confidence to tell people, hey, I buy houses. I'm an investor. I'm looking to build. I'm looking to buy, renovate houses, right? I felt like I didn't earn that yet. And it took me a while. It took me a while to get to the point. I tell people now, say, if that's what you want to do, tell everybody about it, right? If you are in the mortgage industry, I'm sure you tell everybody about it because you want people to remember you. When they get that lead or when they have the need to sell a property, they want to think of Whiteacre, let's say, in that case, So now I have it all over, shirts and hats and trucks and, whatever.
Social media.
So that's, you got to really scream from the rooftop.
No, you're doing it, and you know, I mean, what better person for me to have on the podcast? Did you ever do any door knocking? Did you
Door
ever have
knocking
to
is
do any
frightening.
of
No, I did it very little here and there, and I would just run away. It's frightening. You gotta have
door
the.
knocking is tough.
It's not because you just don't know how the other person is going to respond, right? And but if you have the mindset that hey, you're going there to add value to somebody, you're not really bothering anyone. And typically, when I would go out there, I would say something like, "Hey, we buy houses. Do you know of anyone in the neighborhood that's looking to sell?" I wouldn't put them in the position to say yes or no for themselves. I'd
Yep.
be like, "Hey, I'm with this company. We buy houses. We bought one down the street. Have you heard of anyone that's looking to sell? We're cash buyers, right?" So it's a different conversation. Ideally, you want to leave a card or a brochure behind, and maybe they'll call you back. But you never want to go and just door knock and be like, "Hey, house looks like crap. Are you looking to sell it to me?" Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I'm
not the
sure
way.
people make that mistake, and I'm sure it can get confrontational because it's like emotional. It's somebody's property. They've lived there for 10, 20 years.
Exactly. Or if they're in a foreclosure list or something like that, and you just don't want to mention that, because obviously it's something that
Yeah.
people are struggling with.
You
Um,
know, you know who are like really good door knockers? Are these like solar panel guys? These guys, I mean, these guys must get like some really good training. I mean, they have a counter to everything you say. And like I went through with one, didn't really like the numbers after when we owned our property in Quincy, and I found out that they had left open like 2 permits on the house when we were selling it. But those guys are really aggressive. I don't know who trains them, or
it,
Sunrun, I think it is, or I'm not gonna mention any names, but anyways, they're really good out there with door knocking.
yeah,
So
and it's a numbers game. I think you can do that with properties too. It's a little harder though,
mhm.
because when you door knock for solar, obviously you just door knock the neighborhood with
But they do the same thing.
same thing.
One of the things they said, hey, I helped Mr. Smith down the road.
Exactly.
We're just setting up this week his solar panels. We help them save energy, blah, blah.
Well, exactly right. They're establishing credibility right there and then, right? Hey, I work with your neighbor. I'm welcome in the neighborhood and all that stuff. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah. What are your favorite projects and why? I mean,
have
you're
changed.
doing a lot,
Yeah.
obviously, but
Things have
you're
changed for us too. That's a good question though. So when I started out, favorite projects were fix and flips. And those have become less and less, exciting for me now. It's a lot of work to do this fix and flips. It's a tremendous amount of work between contractors and building inspectors and cost of material going up. Is just a tough business to be in. It's just a tough job on a day to day.
Mhm.
I love wholesaling right now. It just brings quicker cash in, and it just it's faster. But the focus has been more on buy and hold, because that's the reason we got started in real estate investing, and then kind of we lost sight of that, and
Yeah.
we focused on fix and flip and wholesaling and building the office and the business. But um, yeah, my favorite right now, are the full gut rehabs of a buy and hold property. We put a lot of effort into it, change layouts, maximize the bedrooms, have a brand new building at once you're done, and then you keep it as a rental. Those are the best, because then we can get the cash flow for many years to come. Either something like that or a new construction building. Those are uh, even for that, again, it's a lot of work, but at least you keep the building and you see the fruits of it for many years to come.
I appreciate the honest answer on the wholesaling deals, that you make the easy money. And I
Exactly.
mean, sometimes that's how it should be, like you've put in the effort for all these number of years, and I'm sure it's worth every deal you make. But on the long-term holds, what are the time, like how long are you holding them? Do you have a specific time frame?
No, right now, there's really no specific time frame. I think we're getting to a point where some of the buildings we bought in the past, we want to do some 1031 exchanges and just buy into something bigger. This year, we had just pulled a new list for buildings of 10 plus doors. So we want to kind of, in order to scale, we just want to have more rental units under one roof, right? And but there's
Gotcha.
no timeline right now. I think it's just as we grow the business, it's probably some buildings will be sold and some new ones will be acquired. Um, Ideally, if you have a good building, you never want to sell, because they go up in value. The rents have gone up and up. So, and you
Rents never go down.
right, right. And you build I feel like you build your net worth by keeping them, right? I mean, I see it with fix and flips. Yes, you make an income. Yes, it looks great when, on the tax returns, but net worth doesn't go up by doing fix and flips or wholesaling, right? Net worth goes up when you increase the equity in the properties you hold, right?
Yep.
Uh, so
Quick selfie over here. Um, that's awesome. Sorry, lost my train of thought for a second. Yeah, no, I think the holds are good. What areas do you like in Massachusetts right now? Are you doing any out of state?
no, I'm not. We have one building in New Hampshire, and that's the only one. New Hampshire is great, but I just don't have a team there to really manage and do good work on the construction side.
Mhm.
Um, and I struggle going to that building because it's just far away from us. But Greater Boston, right? So we are in the office is located in Natick. So Metro West is great. Boston neighborhoods like Dorchester, Roxbury, Mattapan, Hyde Park, they have been great to us for rentals. Um, so if my favorite would be a Boston neighborhood, just like the one I mentioned, East Boston. But those have gotten more and more expensive, right? So Metro West, as far as Worcester County, um, that's pretty
Yep,
much our limit. Some towns in the South Shore, and then North Shore. So the way we look at it, Sidrit, is about an hour drive is our maximum. So if anything further than that, it's no go for us because it just becomes too much to manage.
makes
Um,
sense.
and then ideally 30 to 45 minutes would be perfect.
Gotcha. What about New Bedford, Fall River? Is that
Yeah,
too far
it's
out?
just too far, and I don't know the area. We don't marketing that
Sounds
that
like a lot of people are investing in there, and
yeah.
I mean, I have clients buying a client buying a three family there now.
Yeah, I think
Um,
numbers make sense in those areas. Again, Worcester, New Bedford or Fall River, I think it's cheaper to purchase.
mhm.
Rents are strong.
And
Um,
I think rents haven't really kept up with home price appreciation. So I think rents are kind of lagging behind.
right.
In a few years, those people buying now will probably see even more appreciation in the rent. So it's kind of cool to see that. I mean, you just need the capital, and obviously, like you said, the numbers making sense. Chances are any first time home buyer buying now, or even an investor buying in Worcester, New Bedford, Fall River,
Mhm.
they'll end up refinancing those loans, and their cash flow will be even greater. So
Yeah,
talk to us about social media. What do you got going on there? I see you're investing a lot more time.
yeah.
I've never been to one of your meetups. I think those are excellent ways to connect with more developers and real estate professionals. I will definitely join one of those.
You should.
Uh,
It's a
but
good
yeah,
crowd.
what you're involved. I mean, you're doing so much networking, social media. What's your strategy there?
Um, the strategy there is just to pretty much, have put myself out there. I think, by nature, I'm an introvert, so it doesn't come natural to me to be in front of crowds, and it getting out of the comfort zone was just a goal I had a few years back, and creating a meetup. What better way than to put yourself in front of other people? So that was a selfish reason. The other thing is we have to share, right? It's part of. I learned a lot from others that shared with me when I started out. Just local guys that I reached out. They're available. So that now it's just my time to share what's working for us, what's not working for us. Um, you got to give back. It's it's what I enjoy doing, and has been amazing because now I've grown the network of people I'm around,
It's
just by
huge.
me sharing what's working for me, people are coming in, they want to partner, they want to lend money to us, they have a deal, they want, someone to look at it. So, if you are in real estate business, you're in a people business, and you got to be out there, you got to talk to people, and so this is our crowd. And I think social media does that really well. I'm still trying to learn that process.
Oh, you're doing it. I mean, I see your videos, they pop up on my feed, so I
Right.
think, like you're doing
Yeah,
something right on there.
yeah, yeah. And the other thing that kept me going there is the fact that I hired these video guys that are really, really good at what they do. And we decided early on that we wanted to start a YouTube channel to share, our journey, right? The fix and flip, the wholesale, the buy and holds, the struggles, the marketing, all of that. So now we get together twice a month. We block time, and it's just, I cannot escape it. There's days that I want to escape it. I don't want to be on, in front of camera, but I can't, because these guys keep me accountable. So that has been the way I kind of trick myself not to give up on it,
Yep.
because if I relied on my own will, I was going to give up on it a long time ago. But these guys have a contract with me, and we just, they keep me accountable. I cannot I cannot mess it up. So, I'm present. We go different sites, and we kind of, shoot content, and we talk about how I look at projects and the numbers, and, so it's good stuff. And I know people are getting value out of it. I get a lot of good feedback from the YouTube content. And then we take a little bit of that content, and then we post it on social media, Facebook and Instagram.
Reels. Are you doing TikTok or
No,
not really?
no.
Yeah, that's fine. No, it's all good. I mean, you listen, there's so many real estate agents, professionals on Instagram.
Right.
You could venture out to TikTok, but it's a matter of, do you want to put more money into it?
Right.
For me right now, I'm doing a lot of it myself.
Yeah.
I have like outsourced a lot of the editing for some of the long form YouTube videos. I'm doing the recording, but the editing, I want it to look a little more professional so people can stick around and watch the videos longer on YouTube. Um, it's just one of my goals to be on YouTube more this year. But most of my, TikToks, Reels on Instagram, that they're all me. I mean, I do get I do get Humberto, one of my guys here, to help me out with the Reels here and there, but not always, right? Because it becomes costly.
Yeah.
But whatever the strategy is, and it works. But blocking time, I think it's excellent. Like
Yeah.
you can't escape it. I have 3 podcasts today. You're my second one right now. So I'm like, oh, like I kept pushing. Then
Yeah.
people are like, let's do it. I'm like, boom, 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 scheduled everyone.
Yeah, exactly. You have to block time, otherwise it will never happen, right? And it's there's other urgent stuff that come your way, and the shiny object syndrome, right? You're always going for the
Yeah.
next thing.
Phone's always gonna be ringing,
Exactly.
text messages, of
All the
course.
distractions.
Of
Exactly.
course. Um, are you so how are I'm sure interest rates are impacting your business.
Yeah.
How are they? What are you doing? Anything you can share?
Yeah. It depends on which product we're talking about. On the fix and flips, we definitely see we're paying a little bit more to our private and hard money lenders. That's for sure. We have
What are those now for you?
I'm at about 2 points and 10%.
That's not bad.
Yeah, yeah. So 2 points on upfront, right, on the total amount that we borrow, and 10% annual interest. Um, but we have a lot of lenders, just, they have a HELOC, let's say, on their house, and they take that money when we invest it with us, and they're seeing higher HELOC rates, let's say, right?
Returns.
And so exactly, they charge us a little bit more. So there is pain on that end. And when you have higher interest, it means that now you're going to make probably less profit, right? Because you're paying more in interest. The fix
Mhm.
and flip, the good thing is that these are quick turnaround projects. So, time is money there. We just got to run fast and make sure we turn the capital, and we end the project fast. But also we see it on the exit number. Right now, properties, we just sold one at the Cape. We're hoping to get 600 for it. We got 575, right? So that's a 5% reduction.
Where
from
at the Cape? Where was it?
Sandwich.
Oh, okay, that's where we own too. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
10
nice.
Dowager. Actually, it's closing is today. 10
Congrats.
Dowager Drive. Thank you. But
What's the address?
I
If
don't
you
know
can
I
share.
yeah, Dowager.
Okay. Okay.
Number 10 Dowager Drive.
Dowager. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Ina is the listing agent for that one.
Nice. She's
But
awesome.
yeah, we're hoping for We were hoping for 600. We got 575, right? So it's not bad. Still a great deal. We paid 350 for it. Put about 100,000 into it, so it's a good deal overall. But I'm saying, prices did come down because of the high interest rates. You got less buyers.
When did you acquire it?
We bought this, I believe, in August, if I'm not mistaken.
22?
Yeah, 22 this year.
That's really good.
Yeah. So it was a newer house. It was built in 1989. Just had a lot of deferred maintenance.
Wow.
And just we went in and updated kitchen, bathrooms, floors, it did siding, all that stuff, new windows.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But so that's, to go back to your question, you see less buyers out there. And if this was actually back in March or April or even May, I think we would have got 600 or maybe even a little bit more, because there's just this
Of course.
people overbidding, right? We still got over asking price, but it's a little less than, what we're
Expecting.
So yeah, as a fix and flipper, you got to be careful there with these high interest rates. You're gonna your profit margins will shrink unless you do a really good job negotiating and buying up front. I think, if I want to put a theme to this podcast, if buy right when you're buying up front, especially in this environment.
100%.
You make your money when you purchase real estate.
100%. And I think if rates do drop, we're probably going to have a more stable purchase market. And I mean, kudos to you for taking risk. I mean, you never know where rates are going to go, right? You just got to do as good of a job as you can up front, running numbers, and have like a worst case scenario too, right? Where you lose money, and can you afford to do that, and what it means for you and your business.
Great.
No, that's great. I hope we can do this again, Enis. You've given so much value, and people charge a lot of money for just to like get you to a course. Hey, sign up my $99 course. Then it's like, oh yeah, but we have a full 2-day class for $1,500.
Right. Yeah.
And it's disinformation, and I appreciate that because I know you're a straight up guy, like you want to help people out there. Like you have good intentions, and that's why you're doing great things. And I appreciate you for sharing all this information. I mean, I learned a few things, especially with wholesaling. But no, thank you. We'll do this again, and I wish you only success and good health in 2023.
Thank you, man. No, this was great. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's do a round two at some point.
Let's do it. Thank you, Enis.
Thank you.